This timeline would change when Blitzo visited Stolas, as this time he was looking for that book and a little bit of more. As Blitzo would decide to sway Stolas like in canon, he would pull out an angelic weapon when he was laying in bed and, well, take care of him. As in, Blitzo would leave more stealthily. You see, this Blitzo was far different from the one we know. This one was trained, and was trained to hate nobles, to want to rebel, to want to get rid of the old society, to want to change everything. As he got the book, he would go out to the secret rebellion. You see, for a long time, for centuries, no, thousands of years, Imps have been second-class citizens. It was time for them to change that through revolution. As Blitz would go to his boss, Stryker, in this timeline. I got it. Excellent. Finally, we'll be able to get our revenge. What is this going to do exactly? You'll see. It's all a part of the plan, Stryker would say as he smirked. Stryker would agree and say, well, this book allows you to travel to Earth, and that will be quite useful. You see, Earth has something that we need. Blitz would say, what's that? As Stryker would say, there's something on Earth. Something that will help out our cause. I could tell you, but why spoil the surprise? Besides, I'm the only one who needs to know. If I perish, then you know the backup plan. As Stryker would leave, Blitz would nod as he would go back to his apartment, as he was paid by the resistance. You see, for a long time, imps have been under oppression, and the mobsters, the gangsters, everyone, every imp is tired of it. And they knew they could rebel. They showed them that it's possible to take down an overlord, that it's possible to take down a member of one of the rings themselves. As it turned nighttime, Blitz decided to visit one of the agents, as he would walk over to the Lust Ring to visit the most valuable spy that they had. As Blitz was at the Lust Ring, he would wait until Fizz would show up. As Fizzarolli walked up to him, Blitz would say, so, are you ready? Fizz would then nod and say, yeah, I'm ready. But, one question, Blitz. When are we gonna do this? I'm tired of pretending to like him. He's so clingy and arrogant. Blitz would say, be patient. As soon as the boss gets the item. Now. Blitz would then give him a weapon. I want you to do this. As soon as we give the signal, you'll look out your window and see fireworks go off when you want it done. Got it? Fizz would nod. As then Blitz was walked off, Fizz would go back into the bedroom. But as he went in, he saw something. Asmodeus was up. Fizz began to shake. Was his cover blown? Asmodeus said, I know why you were out there. You're getting a gift for my birthday in a couple weeks. Fizz would say, you got me. Aw, as in they would cuddle. As in Fizz smiled, as Asmodeus had no idea what was going to come. As then, we cut back to Stryker. As Stryker was back on Earth, looking for a special crystal. This crystal could amplify other things and had a very special ability. You see, for a weapon to be angelic, it has to be blessed by a priest, or blessed by God, or made in heaven. But this crystal was made in heaven to turn other things angelic. If Stryker can get this up on the right end, he could turn his entire army's weapons into angelic weapons, and make it so they can overthrow royalty once and forever. However, this would be easier said than done, because it was being held by the government. As men in suits were everywhere, they roamed the halls. However, Stryker would use a human disguise and get by it all, as he would steal the crystal. As he finally did, and he was finally ready to prepare the army. As then we cut to Blitz and Moxie's dad. As Crimson was walking around, he would see his son, because, well, in this alternate timeline, Moxie would never leave the family business. In fact, he'd be quite phenomenal at it. As he would say, you think we can do this? I know we can. Get the army ready. As soon as all of the overlords and sinners get destroyed, it's time for the imps to take back. It's time for a revolution. He would nod. As time passed, it got closer and closer for them to strike. As we cut back to Fizzarolli, as he would see fireworks in his window. Fizz would walk over to Asmodeus as they both cuddled. Asmodeus would hug Fizz and say, I love you. Fizz would say, do you really love me? Asmodeus would say, of course I do. As then suddenly, Osmosis would feel a sharp pain in his back as he would fall to the floor. Fizz would laugh and say, "You've been really dumb all this time. Do you know that?" Osmosis would say, "What are you talking about? Fizz, what are you doing? You actually thought I loved you? You know how many people have been suppressed by your kind? You know how many people are in your ring that are suppressed? That are in your ring that are barely getting by? Do you do anything about them? No, you don't. You stay with the hierarchy. It's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to get rid of people like you." Oz said, "I thought you loved me. I can never love someone like you," Fizz would say, as then he got rid of him. As then we cut to Beelzebub. As everything was slowly starting to turn around for the Imps, it was time to strike down Beelzebub, as Beelzebub was chilling with her boyfriend, Vortex. As hellhounds were also mistreated, they were seen as lesser than the lesser than even imps by some people. As they were laying in bed together, Beelzebub would smile and go to sleep, but she woke up to a sharp pain as she felt herself faded in and out of consciousness. As Vortex said, "Time to go away forever, B-word." As then he threw her out of bed and watched her slowly fade away. As then Vortex would join the army. As we cut to the news, as suddenly Lady Joy would fall down, destroyed by an imp. As the imps would come over and say, "We have defeated the 7 deadly sins and are leading an uprising. We have taken over the Greed Ring and are now invaded the Pride Ring. We are after the aristocrats that rule here, and that any sinner does not comply with our invasion will be an enemy and will be destroyed." As the imps took over the Pride Ring, many overlords would stand their ground. Vox, Alistair, and others. Some, like Camilla Carmine, would let the imps occupy their land temporarily, so not to cause any trouble. But as the overlords fought, they would fight bravely and with great power. However, with the angelic weapons, they were no match. As the imps came wave after wave after wave, eventually all the overlords and sinners who fought would eventually fall. As then an imp army would surround the royal capital. As Lucifer himself would walk out and say, "What is going on here?" As suddenly Blitz would walk to him. "I am leading the army besieging the royal capital. We demand rights. We demand that everyone in hell is elected. We demand that..." Lucifer would say, "Fine, fine, fine. Just write down everything you want." This shocked Blitz, as then he wrote everything down. Basically, it would turn Lucifer into a figurehead. Lucifer said, "Let's work for me. Alright, good." As he signed the contract, it would be a constitutional monarchy. Lucifer would still have somewhat power, but he would be like a president instead of a king. And there would be a Senate and Congress. And since imps and hellhounds make majority of the population, they would quickly fill it. As they did it, they won. They got freedom. It was a bloody revolution, but they did it. Freedom was secured, as they all cheered down the streets. I mean, Lucifer could have said no and destroyed the army and caused a massive civil war, but he decided not to, because he was depressed and didn't want to deal with it. Hell is in a new age, an age of modernization. For a long time, hell has been an old feudal system, with the king and nobles and people like that. They just had different names, but now with the 7 deadly sins gone and a new democracy installed, hell can be different. With voted installed, with people elected, hell was seen as a modern democracy, and it changed for the better, as imps and hellhounds were given way more rights. Of course, there would always be rich people, there would always be corrupt people, but corruption was sliced 80%. Rich people were sliced 80%, and all of their money and all of their greed was sent back down to the imps, creating an economic boom, as it seemed like the imps were doing a lot better. It seemed like everyone was doing a lot better. It seemed like their lives could continue under the new imp government. As this government was installed and Lucifer was the king/president, he actually became less depressed and actually came out more. Lucifer was seen as a hero who gave up a lot of his power to help the imps and help the people. As Charlie would be able to continue her hotel, but there would be less sinners around because a lot of them were wiped out during the battle with the imps. A lot of the prideful ones refused to give up their territory, so the imps had to get rid of them. As it seemed like hell finally changed. Hell finally became a better place, just not in the way Charlie wanted. And that's going to leave things off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please share with all your friends. And if you think I deserve it, hit that thanks button. It's a little bit of money. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. I don't know, this was kind of Hell of a Boss, which sounds silly that I'm about to say this. That Hell of a Boss videos don't get many views because, you know, my husband channel now, but Hell of a Boss literally take place in the same universe. So and many views. Well, I tried Hell of a Boss before. It didn't really work out. I think only one of those videos hit 1,000. So prove me wrong. I always want to do this, but there's like no character in the title. I was always like, what if the Imps rebel? Because Imps and Hellhounds make up majority of the population. And we've seen Stryker damage Stolas. So if they had those weapons, they could easily take over all of Hell. All they would need is a serious supply, and they could easily take it over. And the Exorcists have lost a battle, and they dropped a lot of weapons. I'm just saying, if some Imps got that, they could do some damage. I feel like that would be a great way to link both shows. I feel like Hell of a Boss should have an Imp rebellion. After all, Imps aren't really treated the best, and the upper class just use them. I feel like an Imp rebellion should be imminent, and should shake the show and shake everything around it. It should eventually impact Has-Been Hotel. Has-Been Hotel won't talk about it, but they'll show images of it, and they'll have mentions of Imps getting more right. And things like that. I feel like an Imp rebellion would be very important and could have a lot of insight on the show. And honestly, I don't know why the Imps haven't rebelled yet. With their mass population and numbers, and the fact that they know their special weapons like Arid Overlords, it seemed like they would rebel. But maybe I'm missing something. Anyway, if you have an answer, let me know in the comments below. Would you love to see a massive Imp rebellion? If so, what do you think it would look like? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being there. Peace out.